Who would have thought that? The most famous shark horror movie of all time was almost cancelled halfway through, and young director Steven Spielberg faced the risk of being fired just because a mechanical shark kept breaking down in the middle of the ocean. Jaws, the masterpiece that made cinema history and opened the era of summer blockbusters, was actually born from fear, chaos, and uncontrollable incidents. And it was the moment Spielberg fled the set, because he was too obsessed, that opened up the most surprising ending in Hollywood history. Nearly 50 years later, the movie still holds a special place in popular culture. But what about the cast of the movie? Some disappeared from Hollywood, some met tragic fates, and some continue to reap great success. In this video, we will take a look back at what they are doing now and how they have changed over the years. Let's get started. Roy Scheider. The name that people immediately remember when they hear it is the brave police chief Martin Brody in Jaws, 1975. However, behind the halo of that iconic role is a turbulent life that not everyone knows. Born on November 10, 1932 in Orange, New Jersey, Roy struggled to establish himself in Hollywood before turning 42 and being cast as Brody, the man standing between the terror of a man-eating shark and the safety of the Amity community in the middle of the tourist season. The role not only made Roy an A-list star but also became an icon of the horror thriller genre. Before Jaws, he was nominated for an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor for his role as police officer Buddy Russo in The French Connection, 1971. The next high point came with All That Jazz, 1979, where Roy transformed into Joe Gideon, a passionate and obsessive dancer, which earned him another Oscar nomination for Best Actor. However, Roy's personal life had many low points. His first marriage broke up after 24 years, and towards the end of his life, he quietly fought a rare bone marrow cancer. Roy Scheider passed away in 2008, leaving behind an immortal cinematic legacy and a twisted life story. If Jaws is a horror icon of the 70s, then Lorraine Gary is the one who brings life to the character Ellen Brody, the resilient and kind wife in the midst of the nightmare of the ocean. Born on August 16, 1937 in New York, Lorraine turned 38 with her iconic role in Jaws, 1975. Without the need for panic or screaming scenes, she conquered the audience with her worried eyes, gentleness, and inner strength when standing next to Martin Brody in the battle for survival with the ocean death. Not stopping there, Lorraine continued to become the symbol of the series with Jaws 2, 1978, and Jaws: The Revenge, 1987. In addition to the Shark series, she made her mark with Car Wash, 1976, with its charming comedy, and Steven Spielberg's 1941, 1979, transforming into a woman anxious during wartime. While many Hollywood stars faced scandal, Lorraine chose a quiet life. She married Sid Sheinberg, the boss of Universal Pictures, in 1957 and built a family with 2 children. Now, at the age of 88, Lorraine Gary remains a quiet but powerful monument of the classic screen. Amidst the wave of horror films in the 70s, Jaws was not only the launching pad for Steven Spielberg but also the push that made Richard Dreyfuss a shining star of Hollywood. Born on October 29, 1947 in Brooklyn, New York, Richard was only 27 years old when he blew up the screen with the image of Matt Hooper, a witty, intelligent, and brave oceanographer. This character not only contributed to the hunt for the ocean monster but also brought humor and charm to the suffocating tension of the film. After Jaws, Richard continued to impress critics with his role as Elliot Garfield, a romantic, slightly eccentric but sincere musician in The Goodbye Girl, 1977, helping him win the Oscar for Best Actor at the age of 30. His career continued to flourish with Mr. Holland's Opus, 1995, receiving another Oscar nomination for his role as inspirational teacher Glenn Holland. But behind the spotlight was a troubled Richard. 3 marriages, a bitter battle with bipolar disorder, and a cocaine addiction that nearly drowned him in the 1980s. At 78, Richard Dreyfuss remains a living, proud, and scarred monument to a legend. If Jaws is a symphony of horror under the ocean, then Robert Shaw is the most intense and haunting bass note. Born on August 9, 1927 in West Houghton, Lancashire, England, Robert, at the age of 47, sent chills down the audience's spines when he transformed into Quint, the grumpy shark hunter with a chilling monologue about the Indianapolis tragedy. That moment not only became one of the classic scenes of cinema, but also an immortal mark of Robert Shaw. Before Jaws, he had made his mark with the cold assassin Red Grant in From Russia with Love, 1963, and the scheming boss Doyle Lonnegan in The Sting, 1973. His role as King Henry VIII in A Man for All Seasons, 1966, also earned him an Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actor, affirming his rare acting class. However, behind the halo was a life full of tragedies. 3 marriages, 8 children, alcoholism, and persistent loneliness. In 1978, just 3 years after Jaws, Robert Shaw died suddenly of a heart attack at the age of 51 in Termacety, Ireland, leaving behind an illustrious career and a personality as thorny as the role of Quint he had lived to the fullest. In a suspenseful film like Jaws, 1975, the character of Deputy Police Officer Hendricks, Martin Brody's loyal and sometimes clumsy partner, is a graceful silence. And Jeffrey Kramer, born on August 15, 1945 in New York, did a great job in that role at the age of 30. His appearance brought a bit of light humor, balancing the terrifying moments of the ocean. Not stopping there, Kramer continued to reunite with the audience in Jaws 2, 1978, maintaining his position as an indispensable part of this classic film brand. But what makes Jeffrey Kramer special is his journey behind the lens. From a supporting actor, he rose to become a powerful producer, leaving a deep mark on the hit series Ally McBeal, 1997 to 2002, a work that was a hit on American television and helped him win a prestigious Emmy Award. Today, at the age of 80, Jeffrey Kramer chooses a quiet life, away from the limelight after decades of dedication. But for movie lovers, especially Jaws fans, the image of Hendricks will always be a memorable part of the silver screen. Murray Hamilton was born on March 24, 1923, in Washington, North Carolina. He began his acting career early and made a lasting impression with his stellar supporting roles on the big screen. At the age of 52, Hamilton played Larry Vaughn, the stubborn mayor of Amity, in the classic film Jaws, 1975. His character, who puts the town's economic interests above the safety of its residents, became a hateful but unforgettable icon thanks to his subtle blend of humor and tension. Before that, Murray Hamilton also made a strong impression as Mr. Robinson, the betrayed husband in The Graduate, 1967, an iconic film of the 1960s. His career spanned decades with a series of outstanding supporting roles, making him a familiar face on American screens. In his personal life, Hamilton had a happy marriage when he married Terry DeMarco in 1951. They had a son together and maintained a happy family until the end of their lives. Unfortunately, Murray Hamilton did not have good health. He died of lung cancer on September 1, 1986, at the age of 63, in his hometown of North Carolina. Susan Backlany was born on September 1, 1946, in Miami, Florida. At the age of 29, she played Chrissy Watkins, the first victim of the shark in the terrifying opening scene of Jaws, 1975. This moment not only made the audience's heart stop, but also became a symbol of fear underwater. As a professional stunt swimmer, Susan used her skills to make the scene so realistic that Spielberg once commented that she was the perfect choice for the role. She then appeared in The Great Muppet Caper, 1981, with a humorous swimming scene. Although her acting career was not too big, Susan Backlany had a peaceful and happy personal life. She married Harvey Keirs in 1975 and lived together for decades, away from the noise of Hollywood. She is now 79 years old and enjoying her peaceful years. Lee Fierro was born on February 13, 1929 in the United States, although her exact birthplace is unknown. At age 46, she played Mrs. Kintner, the grieving mother who lost her son to a shark in Jaws, 1975, making a touching moment when she slaps Martin Brody in a famous scene. Although this role was her only big-screen credits, Lee Fierro spent most of her career on stage, spending many years with the Island Theater Workshop on Martha's Vineyard. In her personal life, she married and had 5 children, balancing motherhood with her passion for acting. In her later years, her health declined due to age, and she died at the age of 91 on April 5, 2020, in Aurora, Ohio, during the COVID-19 pandemic. Carl Gottlieb was born on March 18, 1938, in New York City, New York. At age 37, he played Meadows in Jaws, 1975, a local Amity journalist in a small but memorable role, appearing in press scenes that helped propel the shark horror story. What makes Carl special is that he was not only an actor but also a co-writer of the film, working closely with Spielberg to shape the script into a masterpiece. After Jaws, he wrote the hit comedy The Jerk, 1979, with Steve Martin, and Dr. Detroit, 1983, with Dan Aykroyd. Now 87, Carl is enjoying a peaceful life. Chris Rebello was born on August 8, 1963 in Oak Bluffs, Massachusetts. At the age of 12, he played Michael Brody in Jaws, 1975, the eldest son of Martin Brody, bringing innocence and warmth to the film. After his first role, Chris chose to live a normal life, away from the Hollywood spotlight. Sadly, on November 30, 2000, Chris died of a heart attack at the age of 37, right in his hometown of Oak Bluffs. Nearly 50 years have passed. Jaws is still a cinematic monument, but the lives of the actors have gone in different directions. Some continue in Hollywood, others quietly leave the spotlight. Regardless, their roles will live forever in the hearts of the audience. Whose fate surprises you the most? Leave a comment and don't forget to like and subscribe to follow more fascinating behind-the-scenes stories.